Good morning, good morning, and happy Monday. This is Gigi again. Come on and get your walk. Come on and walk with Gigi, at least 1,000 steps. A beautiful morning here in the 757, a little cooler, a little windy, but an excellent morning to take a nice brisk walk. I hope you all had a nice weekend this weekend. I surely did. It always goes by too fast. Monday reminds us that's the start of a new beginning, another chance. And I just thank God for it. Again, another wonderful weekend. Saturday, we didn't get to walk, Lynette and I, but there was a special edition of Walking 1K with Gigi. And I thank Miss Lynette Gilmore for walking with me. Had a wonderful day of worship at Grace and Twine Ministries yesterday. Wonderful word, just a wonderful time of fellowship. I want to thank all our visitors that came and visited with us on yesterday. But I have a gem nugget for today. There's a verse that we love from Jeremiah 29:11. When God says, I know the plans for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, hope to give you a future or a successful end. Oh, we love that verse. We love that verse. But sometimes things take a while, or they don't go exactly the way we want to, we have to be reminded, and this is what our daily bread reminded us this morning. We have to trust God's plan and his timing. That is my gem nugget today. Trust God's plan and his timing. Jeremiah the prophet, shared this verse with us. But if we do some deeper research into this, in chapter 28, this is from chapter 29, this verse that we love. But in chapter 28, there were some false prophets that were around with Jeremiah. And sometimes there are some people that will tell you what you want to hear rather than the truth. And as the children of Israel went into exile in Babylon, some false prophets came out and said that they were going to come out of exile in 2 years. In 2 years. And of course, the false prophets, this sounded good, and the people would most likely follow these prophets because this prophet gave the people good news. But Jeremiah was a true prophet, and because of what he said, he suffered a lot of persecution. He was thrown into prison, he was thrown in a well, he was rejected by his family and friends. But the verse right before our favorite verse, Jeremiah 29:11, in Jeremiah 10, he said, Jeremiah, this is what the Lord says. When 70 years are completed, not 2 years, for Babylon, I will come to you and fulfill my good promise to bring you back to this place. 70 years. There's a big difference between 2 years and 70 years. And so that was not a popular prophecy. A lot of people, I remember back in the day when they said, a prophet was coming to town, and everybody would want to go and see what the prophet had to say. And of course, you wanted good news. Now, back in that time, prophets usually didn't bring good news, but they brought the truth. And the people, like to hear truth. It's like, you want to go and see what the fortune teller was telling you. But you have to trust God's plan and God's timing. He's the one that is going to tell you the truth. I know sometimes we get a little anxious, and God will keep his promises. But sometimes, because we're getting older and it seems like time is going by so fast. We just take anything that we hear. But we have to trust his plan and trust his timing, most importantly. Sometimes some promises may not be fulfilled until after we are dead and gone and maybe passed on to somebody else. But we want to see it in our lives because just like David said, I would have fainted if I hadn't seen the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. But one thing, God keeps his promises. That's why we can hold on to Jeremiah 29:11, because he does know the plan. He does know the timing. His timing is perfect, because sometimes if he did some things earlier, we wouldn't be prepared for it. We wouldn't be able to handle it. And he knows the perfect timing. Although to us, it may seem like he's taking too long. But there's another verse that makes me know, that should give us confidence. It says, and that's Philippians 1:6, being confident of this very thing, that he which began a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. A good friend of mine, she was supposed to get a promotion way earlier in her career. It never came to pass. It never came to pass. Time went on and went on. She retired. But do you know what? That very thing that God had promised her before she retired, do you know she received it? They called her after her retirement. And now that promise has been fulfilled. She is performing that God had promised her way back then. She couldn't understand it. Why was it taking so long? Why were these obstacles coming up? But God, we have to trust his plan and trust, most importantly, his timing. So that's all I'm saying, because it's like Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not into your own understanding in all thy ways. But you got to acknowledge him. And guess what? He will direct your path. It might be early. It might be later. I look over my own life and I said, I feel like I'm a late bloomer in a lot of areas, starting the educational career a little later than most people and different types of things. But God has been faithful. The timing was right. Still trusting God for things to happen in the church's lives and in our own personal lives, me and my husband's life. But I am confident, that's in Philippians 1:6, that what he began, he's going to finish it. And that back to Jeremiah 29:10, he knows the plans that he has to prosper us and not to harm us and bring us to a successful end. You got to trust his plan. You got to trust his timing, no matter how long it takes. That's my gym nugget for today. I just want to remind you to subscribe to the Gym Nugget channel. Namil, I hope you're watching from Sweden. She said, I'm always watching Walking with Gigi and some others of you. I appreciate it. But subscribe to the Gym Nugget channel. Tell your friends to subscribe to the Gym Nugget channel. I also want to remind you, support the Children's Outreach Project at Grace and Twine Ministries. Go to graceandtwineministries.com. Make a donation of any amount and include your favorite word from the Bible, a Bible verse, so I can share it right here on Walking 1K with Gigi. Thank you so much. But you have a real good day. Have a good day. But trust God's plan, and most of all, trust his timing. Bye. See you tomorrow.